Mesechas Círoבין, Perik Vov, Mishnah Beis. Omer Rabban Gamliel, Maisa b'tzduki echod. There was a Maisa with a tzeduki, that is, the tzdukim who people did not accept the Torah Sheba'al Peh. The Gemara adds that normally when you have a Maisa, it relates to something which has been said in the previously, and we don't find that Stuki mentioned previously, and therefore suggests the Gemara that there is a Chisuri Mechsera, and the Mishnah should begin as follows: Stuki harehu kanochri, Rabban Gamliel omer eino kanochri. That is, there is a machlokus between Rabban Gamliel and others as to whether the Stuki has the status of a nochri with regard to Círoבין. Being that the Tzeduki is a Yid, but he's Eino Moda B'Eruv, does he fall into the category of the Eino Moda B'Eruv, which we mentioned in the previous Mishnah, and the Nochri, where there is who asers in the Chotzer, and he cannot participate in the Eruv, and he cannot be Mevatel Rishus, and the only Eitzah is to be Socher Rishus from a Nochri. Similarly, you have to be Socher Rishus from a Tzeduki. Whereas Ram Gamliel says no, a Tzeduki is neither like a Nochri, and therefore Sechiras Rishus is not appropriate, nor, on the other hand, do we treat him like a fully fledged member of Klal Yisrael, in which case he could participate in the Eruv and could be Mevatel Rishus. He cannot do that. He cannot participate in the Eruv because he's not Moda B'Eruv. So what is the Eitzah for a Tzeduki? We have a third category, an intermediate category. And Rabban Gamliel says as follows: Maisa b'tzduki echod, a Maisa happened with a Tzeduki, Shayador imonu ba'movi b'Yerushalayim. He lived in a movi in Yerushalayim, together with other Yidden. V'omar lonu abo, and father said to us, Maru v'hotziu es kol hakelim lemovoi ad shelo yotzi v'yeser aleichem. The Tzeduki, having been mevatel his reshus, that he's got no reshus in the chotzer on Shabbos itself, and therefore, and the chiddush of Rabban Gamliel is that even though he's a Tzeduki and he's not Moda B'Eruv, nonetheless we allow him to be Mevatel Reshus. He can be Mevatel Reshus, in which case he wouldn't ask on everybody else to carry in the Chotzer. Nonetheless, we're afraid that maybe during Shabbos he will change his mind, and he will in fact be bring out his goods into the chotzer, in which case that shows that his bittul was not really intended to be a proper bittul, and he's been choser on his bittul, and in which case he would asa everybody from carrying in the chotzer. So Rabban Gamliel gave the advice: whatever you want to carry out into the chotzer and carry from the chotzer into your houses, do so before the Nochri does an action which would indicate that he's been mevatel his Eruv. I'll call upon him. What do we see from here? According to this version of Rabban Gamliel, which is the Tanakama, which in fact is Rav Meir's version of Rabban Gamliel, we see clearly that a Tzeduki could, in theory, be mevatel reshus. So therefore, he doesn't belong to the category of a Nochri, because a Nochri cannot be Mevatel Reshus. We don't accept the Bittul Reshus of a Nochri. The only Eitzah, if you've got a Nochri in the Chotzer, is to be Socher Reshus. That's the opinion of the Tanakama's version in Rabban Gamliel. Comes Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda says no, that the Tzeduki is in fact like a Goy. Bittul Reshus doesn't help at all. Rabbi Yehuda Omer B'Loshen Achi had a different version. Maharu v'asu tzorcheim ba'movi. Quickly do whatever you're required to do in the movi. Ad shelo yotzi v'yeser aleichem. And we darshan ad shelo yotzi meaning until before Shabbos comes in. Do whatever you need to do in the movi before Shabbos comes in, because once Shabbos comes in, there is no eitzah. This Tzeduki will asa you from carrying in the movi, and whatever bittul reshus he does will not help, because we don't accept the bittul reshus of a Tzeduki. Because in fact he's like we treat him exactly like a goy, and the only problem is he's like a goy, but we cannot even be socher reshus. So there's no eitzah at all if you've got a Tzeduki in the chotzer, and therefore do whatever you have to do before Shabbos. But on Shabbos, it is problematic. So we see here that the first version of Rabban Gamliel, which is Rabbi Meir's version of Rabban Gamliel, is that the tzduki is a yid. He's a yid. But nonetheless, he cannot participate in the Eruv, but at least he can be Mevatel Rashus, and we won't accept any schiras from him. And according to the second version, certainly we won't accept any schiras for him because he's not a goy. On the other hand, we cannot give him the kulas of a yid to be Mevatel Rashus, even if he's Mevatel Rashus, even he is Mevatel Rashus, we'll ignore his bittul because it's not considered to be a bittul at all, and therefore the only way you can carry in the chotzer is if you do everything before Shabbos, and on Shabbos itself there will be no heter whatsoever.